and subscribe to the channel and like this video. I appreciate it. Welcome to New York, one of the most visited cities in the United States, actually the world. New York is known for entertainment from sports to music, Wall Street, and the unfortunate events of September 11th. The city has 5 boroughs with their respective counties: Brooklyn, Queens, Manhattan, Bronx, and Staten Island. The borough we're going to be in today, going to the BX, going to the Bronx. What we're about to be getting into is into the gang, sex, money, murder, and the founder, Peter Rollock. Peter, while he was growing up in the Soundview projects in the Bronx, he came up with the gang, sex, money, murder, in the late 80s during the crack epidemic. He was looked at as a young Leroy Nicholas Barnes, aka Nicky Barnes, who was a well-known drug kingpin in New York in the 70s. During this time in the 80s, Peter, he earned his nickname, Pistol Pete. Him and his organization, they incorporated an effort to launder the drug money and expanded its options outside of New York, all throughout the East Coast. In 1995, Pistol Pete, he was locked up in Rikers Island with Omar Horty, aka OG Mac, and Leonard McKenzie, aka OG Deadeye, who were the leaders of the prison gang on Rikers Island called the United Nation Bloods, which was started in '93. Before the Bloods were in New York, they were originally found in Los Angeles, California. The Bloods was formed to compete against the Crips in LA. The rivalry originated in the late 1960s when Raymond Washington and some other Crips attacked Sylvester Scott and Benson Owens, who were 2 students in Compton, California that went to Sentinel High School. As a result, Scott formed the Pyro Street Gang. It was the first Bloods in the world. The first set, created within the United Blood Nation, was the 9 Trey Gangsters. That was a prison gang in Rikers at first before it made it out to the streets. This set was repped hard from the hardcore gangster rapper Tekashi 6ix9ine before he was arrested, along with other members of the 9 Trey Gangsters for RICO charges and other crimes on top of that. If you don't know about Tekashi, you should know. He ain't hood, he ain't hard at all. He tried to act like it, but that fool wasn't nothing. To be completely honest, he was fake. He was a Blood, basically, as you hear what I said. He was with 9 Trey, but after he got arrested, he snitched to get out of jail, so he dropped out. He didn't want to be a part of it anymore. So, he just dropped. He dropped from being a Blood like he was in high school. Anyways, Sex, Money, Murder Gang became sanctionized as one of the original United Blood sets. When Pete was bailed out of Rikers by his mom, while he was out, he painted the whole projects red, and everybody within Sex, Money, Murder, it turned into a Blood set. They were straight up Bloods now. Pistol Pete, as he was growing up, he gained a reputation as a ruthless killer who became a millionaire before he was 20 in the drug game. In the late 80s and early 90s, that's when he was getting all his paper. He was known as one of the most feared and powerful men in New York during the crack epidemic, who could get anything done he wanted, from robbing people to even getting people killed with one word. Sex, Money, Murder was stretched all over the East Coast. He was literally living the life of sex, money, murder. He has a long story, but I want to get into who he was with some of the crimes he got into to land him in prison. First, Pete was convicted in April of '93 of possession of drugs, and he was sentenced to a month in prison. After he was out, that's when things changed for him. That's when the murders happened. People known it happened from getting killed. The murder he was known for was killing a New York native by the name of Carlton Hines, who was a star basketball athlete that was very popular in the tri-state area. He got a scholarship from Syracuse University, but he didn't go to school. He didn't take it serious. He dropped out. He became a drug dealer. Carlton wanted to live that fast life and make that fast money, and he was doing that. But as time went on, he wanted to get back into basketball. Before he was even able to do that, Pistol Pete killed him. Pistol Pete literally killed him when Hines was washing his car. He came up to him and he killed him. There was a person that was with Carlton that same night when he died. Pete was shooting at him. Pete didn't kill him. But there was a person that was with Carlton when he died. Pete saw somebody else with him. He ended up shooting at him. This guy's name was Carlos. He didn't kill him. He wounded him. But later on that year, on July 17th, Peter finished the job on Carlos and shot him in the back of the head. Peter saw him at a payphone. Supposedly, Pete killed him because he witnessed Carlton's death. He had to take him out. It's said Peter killed Carlton in fear of retaliation for the death of a friend of Carlton, who Peter shot dead in a sneaker store. Allegedly, it was over a debt that Hines owed to Peter. On March 9, 94, Peter had an attempted murder against a man named Domingo, but the attempt wasn't successful. In June of 94, Peter ended up killing somebody by the name of Anthony Dunkley. What he was trying to do right there, what Pete was doing by killing him off, he was trying to get rid of all the local drug dealers in the Bronx. He wanted to be the main one. Gotta fast forward to August 9th of 1995. Peter was apprehended for the murder of Carlton Hines while at Grant's Tomb in Harlem, based off a tip that was given. When he was arrested, he was in possession of a gun at the time. So Pete, he got a gun charge, which carried a mandatory 8-month sentence at the time. But due to the lack of evidence and witnesses, the murder charge was dropped. Pete was acquitted, but instead of going home, he stayed in custody due to the fact of an informant informed authorities on him with a drug operation, along with guns, cash found in the stash box too, which was found in North Carolina. Ever since 95, Pistol Pete, Peter Rollock, has been behind bars. In 2000, according to NBC News, Pete, he pleaded guilty. He admitted in federal district court in Manhattan that he led the SMM, Sex Money Murder Gang, which had sold crack cocaine and heroin in the Bronx, as well as in Pittsburgh and North Carolina. He said, "We possessed firearms and committed murder." He told Judge Marion Goldman, describing killings he had carried out or approved from jail. In one case in 93, he said he fatally shot a man who had drawn his gun on a fellow gang member. Pete, he explained and said that we protected one another. In 94, when he was talking to the judge, he admitted to the person that he killed in the sneaker store, the person that was friends with Carlton, and how it was over a death. He said, "I knew that he was a danger to me." Now, in 1997, while he was behind bars, he masterminded killing of a shooting that was on Thanksgiving Day. It was during a flag football game between the Castle Hill houses and Southview houses. 2 people were killed and multiple people were injured. Peter Rollock, in January 2000, was facing charges for multiple murders, 5 attempted murders, 2 conspiracies to commit murder, narcotics trafficking. He pleaded guilty to 6 murders. He's in solitary confinement right now, serving life, plus 105 years. That's without parole. He was ordered to pay over $25,000 for funeral costs of the victims he killed, and subject to special administrative measures, which his outside communication is limited to only his attorney and immediate family members. That's it. That was a plea bargain to to take him off of the death penalty. He pleaded guilty to 6 murders though in the Stevenson Commons complex in the Southview area. 23-hour lockdown in the cell and 1 hour out. Pistol Pete is in his cell for 23 hours once again. He's out for only 1 hour. He receives meals through a slot in the door. No human interaction at all. He's at the Supermax prison, ADX. ADX is considered the Alcatraz of the Rockies. ADX is said to be a clean version of hell, with all of the restrictions prisoners have. You may be wondering, why the hell are they keeping him in segregation at the Supermax? But many gang leaders are up there because how much of a threat they can be on the outside in just a regular prison. The United Nations blood leaders that I talked to you about earlier, OG Mac, OG Deadeye, they're at the same prison, along with Larry Hoover, who's the leader of the Black Gangsta Disciples. Larry Hoover, check this out. He was apprehended in 1973. While he was in prison, the leader of the Gangsta Disciples, he died in 74. And when he died, Larry Hoover became the chairman of the gang from behind bars of the Black Gangsta Disciples. Ever since then, it became one of the biggest gangs in the country. This happened while he was behind bars. Before Pistol Pete went to the Supermax, he was accused of ordering some killings from behind bars. It's been over 23 years since he's been in solitary confinement. I was trying to look up information to see if he's gotten a little bit of luck and he hasn't been in solitary confinement, but I couldn't find anything. Thank you for coming. I hope you enjoyed this video. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. We out.